Hey everybody, it's Matt Johnson. We are back here again with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. We're talking about a few things today. We're going to talk about how the podcast itself got started, delve into our backgrounds a little bit so that you get to know us better and why the hell we're doing this show, which would always help explain things. And then we're going to take some questions from the Facebook group and talk about some call to contact ratio. We'll share some stats from Jeff Cohn's team that are pretty interesting and all kinds of stuff. So let me welcome in the junior grandmaster himself in the co-pilot seat today. Greg, what's up?
Matt, what's up? Man, it feels like it's a typical weekday. You and I are broadcasting on a Friday in the afternoon. This is so amazing. But in your defense, you do have an excuse. You were at GoBundance in Tahoe, and trust me, that's a lot of traveling, a lot of time, a lot of fun, a lot of networking. So we decided to push this back a little bit, give Matt a little bit of a chance to catch up and get some rest. But you know what? Since you were sleeping and resting that poor, weary body of yours, I was up this morning taking body combat, sweating up a storm, drinking up my carrot juice, recording with Vyral for an hour, knocking it out of the park there. Then I went on a 3-hour blab with a couple of the guys over there talking about real estate, and now I'm going to come hang out with you. So what did you do this morning?
I slept. I believe I also knocked it out of the park, so that was a good morning. I mean,
it was a good morning.
You
did have a good morning, man.
In Tahoe, hanging out with a bunch of hard-charging dudes.
IDs.
That their aspiration is to be healthy, wealthy, generous, and extremely awesome in every area of life. It's exhausting. Good
Did
Lord.
They chant that? Like, did they get in the circle and start chanting that? We want a healthy, wealthy, successful.
Chanting. As you can imagine, I did not participate.
Oh God, no! That would be around other human beings. Run for the hills. I have to touch you, like hold hands in a circle and say, fuck this shit. I'm out.
I think I did manage to piss off the speaker of the conductor of that particular session. As always, I was blissfully unaware. I was just hanging out there by the side table where I'm running or helping produce the GoBundance podcast for the members to get to know each other better and so on. So I was there at a side table. I wasn't really like part of the membership group per se, so I just let them do their thing. And apparently, after that particular session, there was a real rah-rah, like, very tribal chanting session that I did not participate in. I look around and I'm the only person not participating. And when the session is over, the guest speaker gets done. And I find out later he gave me an interesting look as he walked past. And all of this I was unaware of. So. To the random guy who conducted the chanting session at GoBundance, I apologize for making you feel like I was not part of the event.
You should, dude. He put a lot of work into that. There's a lot of chanting and beating of chest that he did studies on before he went there, and now you let him down.
That's right. Well, apparently he's done some stuff for Tony Robbins, so he may be. I do not know him. I was not familiar with it. But apparently he's very good at what he does. So we'll leave it at that.
Well, I guess you didn't want to partake in his goodness, but that's okay.
That's right. All right. Well, while we wait for some awesome people to join and watch us live, we are broadcasting on Google Hangouts, of course. You can follow the show on Facebook or Twitter if you want to find out exactly when we go live and watch us record the show on video. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe. That way you get all of our future videos as well as other great real estate coaching videos. And then if you're listening to this on audio, just head over to iTunes or Stitcher and subscribe there. That way you get all the latest episodes, so you can just have that just nestled right here in your earbuds. And then we're going to take, what do you say we take a couple questions first, and then we'll give some shout-outs. I actually have a couple of shout-outs, and in addition to the normal vendor stuff. Yeah, exactly. So
wow. So
we've got a couple of shout-outs from each of us, and then we'll get into kind of our story, and then we'll cap it off with maybe another one or two questions from the Facebook group. What do you say?
Yeah, man. Let's do some education.
Yeah. All right. So this is from the Facebook Lead Gen Scripts and Objections group. If you're not familiar, go check them out on Facebook. Fantastic group. So I'm just debating which one I want to pick out and throw at you, Greg, because we have not run through any of these first. So I'm going to read off. There's a couple of them that caught my eye that are on the same general theme, right? So I'm going to read the shorter and then the longer of these, and we'll talk about kind of how you would approach this. So the first one is from Mike Gallagher. He says, I'm looking for a letter to leave on the door of expireds. I've driven out to some homes and there's none home. I was wondering what sort of letter should I use? And then Chuck Mazzanti asks, he had an interesting convo with a FSBO. Turns out it's actually a company that has 30 properties in the same area. The company is relocating. They need to start listing all these properties. And the guy basically asks him for more information. So it's the same scenario. You have a potential listing. They want more information. They're not ready to meet with you. What do you send them? So, Greg, what's your approach? And then I'll kind of share what I would do if I were in that situation. What's the ideal?
Okay, I mean, if you want to get information in their hands, what does everybody want to know about you if you're going to sell them or represent their interests? They want to know past histories, testimonials, what you do for them, what do they get for the money they're going to spend, who you are, what your personality is. I mean, what are you all about? Obviously, in real estate sales, they're going to want to know your success status. They're going to want to know if you know the marketplace. They want to know if you're active or if you're part-time doing this, just trying to drum up some additional listings. So one of the shout outs I'll get to, this will reference back to this, but Neely had a success doing this. But go out and, either take a Google map and upload all of your listings you've ever sold in the area and put them as pins and buyers and sellers. And then you can, screenshot that and, put that into a pamphlet for them to see visually how powerful you've been in the marketplace. If you don't have any sales, go take your brokerage's sales for the last year and then tout your brokerage and how successful they've been, so that then you can show success on that end. Get testimonials, not from your mom, from past clients or from friends that have worked with you, that know you. And if they haven't worked with you, have testimonials to your character, your work ethic, things that they can truly speak to that's not fraud. And then write a letter to them, explaining to them who you are, what you're doing, why you're here, the whole nine, everything about you. But don't make it a book, make it a decent little chunk. And then go back multiple times, guys. You don't want to just go there, not see them, leave it. That has no effect. Go back a couple of times, write on the back of a business card, hey, so sorry I missed you today. Greg McDaniel, J. Rockcliffe Realtors. Please call me at blah. And stick it in their door. If they don't call you, go back the next day. Next day, third day, go get a FedEx envelope. Those floppy ones. Go take your booklet or whatever you have, your little packet, put it in the FedEx envelope and leave it on the front door. It's a 100% guarantee they'll open that. It also protects the documentation from prying eyes and from the elements. That is a little hack that I learned a number of years ago that I just love. So, I mean, that's some of the stuff that I would do for a FSBO. And then do we want to tackle both questions? And we want to talk about the company
would you
as
do
well?
Something different for expireds?
For expireds, I'd step off a little bit, guys. Don't be that guy or gal that's jumping down their throat the second it goes expired on the MLS. Trust me, they hate that. Give them a breathing room, or even better, go back to the older expireds. Go 6 months. So what are we in January? Go back to like August of last year. Start there, then upload August through January of 2015. Go after the truly expired people there, and because that's where everybody's forgot about them. Go back to them and show them how much money they've made by waiting and holding. Talking about the market and everything that way. That's what I would do, because you're just the middle of a cluster blank. If you do the new expireds right now.
I like that, Greg. Cluster blank. That is a new one, and I respect the fact that you're trying to corral yourself a little bit.
What the fuck you mean?
And there it is. Well, it couldn't last long, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
All right. Well, I appreciate the effort that you did give. So here's my response to that. We could talk about how to handle a company is a little bit different, but at least from my perspective, if I was running a team, especially, I would handle it the exact same way. Whether it's dropping off something to an expired listing, or whether it's dealing with a company that's thinking about listing 30 properties with me or my team or whatever, I would go straight up J. Abraham and I would FedEx them a ream of testimonials. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah,
like that's just literally like nothing self-promotional. Just literally I would print it out in large print, so that each testimonial is like 3 pages, maybe up the weight of the paper. You know what I'm saying? I want that. Like Frank from Vyral told me, if you do that, you want it to make a sound when it slaps on the desk.
Oh yeah, that gives it some authority.
That's right. With some weight to that thing.
You also want to do big print for all the geriatrics that can't read shit.
Yeah, well, that's true.
What is he saying here? He's a roofer? No, I'm a realtor. Damn it.
Those two get confused a lot in your world, Greg?
No, when I do cold calls, I'll do hi, I'm Greg McDaniel with J. Rockcliffe Realtors, and they're like, we don't need a roofer. I'm like, realtor. I sell homes. Yeah, our roof's fine.
No, you gotta. It's because you're mispronouncing realtor.
You mispronounce realtor. A
No,
real turd.
all right, we won't get into that. Okay.
I'll
Well,
win.
that was fun. I'm glad we had a chance to answer that particular question. So, um,
that particular question. Ooh.
all right. Anyway,
Moving
so
forward.
I have I'll give a couple shout outs here real quick. So Tom Miller hit me up on Facebook. Had nothing but good things to say. Said he's been keeping track of the podcast that we do together and had some great content. He's seen the episode. I don't remember which episode it was, but I was talking about the book Unbeatable Mind by Mark Divine. Apparently, he's actually been in that. I think it's maybe the SEAL Fit program that Mark runs
Really?
down here. San Diego. I guess they have a facility in Encinitas, so he was asking me if I'd been up there, which I hadn't. I didn't even know they had one. I knew the author was from San Diego, but I didn't know they had like a facility here. So,
Seal
but yeah,
Fit?
so he
like a
Seal Fit.
gym?
Yeah, so Mark Divine, before he wrote The Unbeatable Mind, I believe he wrote the book called SEAL Fit, which is like a fitness book inspired by his Navy SEAL training.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'd go to that.
Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted a quick shout out to Tom and thank you for watching the show. We really appreciate the kind words. So, and then Isaac Stegman, we had Jeff Latham, his business partner, on the show last week. They run together. They run Jeff's coaching company, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So Isaac reached out and introduced me to some key people, including Hal Elrod, that might be coming on the show here quick, maybe over the next couple months or so. Hal is the author of The Miracle Morning. I've seen Hal up in Tahoe as well. He did a morning yoga session that I unfortunately did not attend because I was trying to recover from lack of sleep the night before. And not for any good reason, just because I was tired and couldn't get to sleep. So let's just say that there was a hide-a-bed issue in the suite at the hotel room.
Oh no! You're going into that story. What happened with the hide-a-bed?
There'll be no storytelling. I'm just saying.
This is a story. This is the story show, Matt. We always tell stories. And tell us yours today. Don't lie.
No. Well,
no.
No.
All right.
No, let's just say that the drive, the coming into Tahoe was very pleasant. It was great. We got stranded. We did not get to fly directly into Reno. We got diverted to Sacramento. We had to stay because there's a 29-car pile-off caused by a semi-jackknifing on the way up to Tahoe from Sacramento, so we couldn't drive up there that night. But also that turned out fine. We went and found we got a great like 2-room suite, like each separate bed, like 2 master like bedroom bathroom kind of setup. It was great. Had a great night, and then drove up the next morning to Tahoe, and then everything after that was like just sleeping on a horrible hide-a-bed. So needless to say, when I got that's why I slept in this morning. So travel is not. I love to travel, but good Lord, sometimes you get the short end of the stick.
Yeah, I can imagine, man.
Yeah. So anyway, how about you? Have you gotten your have you fixed your windshield washer fluid problem yet?
I did actually. I figured out that it wasn't actually my windshield wiper fluid container was not broken. It was just the fact, like I told you, my father has a phobia against windshield wiper fluid.
Oh, it's just empty.
Never used it. It's a 2005 vehicle, and it's like, oh yeah, I never use it. Totally forgot about it. And and I didn't tell you, the windshield wipers were like frayed and falling off and everything. I'm like, I am so gonna die doing this. But that is now fixed. He is topped off for the rest of his life on windshield wiper fluid.
Well, apparently so. He never uses it.
I know. I got to go to fill up my car now. But
it's interesting. Your dad, he's a character.
T Diddy.
That's right, T Diddy. All right. So, what's you want to share anything that you learned on the Blab today?
Dude, I learned so much cool shit today on the Blab.
There was one. Tell people about the home report site that you were turned on to. I think that's probably the most relevant.
So, homedisclosure.com. It's ran by Realty Track guys. What you do is you go in, it's completely free. You sign up, put your name, email address, and a passcode, and then you're logged in. But then it gives you an extensive report about the property. You know, it gives you alerts or concerns or benefits of the property. Then you can click on them. It gives you a rating of like if it's a benefit or if it's moderately an issue or a high or very high risk. You can email that, share that on social media. You can download as a PDF. This is a phenomenal tool that you can give to buyers and sellers about the information about their home, so they're fully knowledgeable, especially the buyer side. Because if they're looking at 123 Main Street and 456 Maple, and one has a pedophile living within spitting distance, and the other one has a beautiful playground that only has rainbows and ponies and candy canes at, and it's perfect. Well, then you probably want to pick the one next to the park. But go take a look at it and just kind of get your thoughts on it. I really thought that was cool. If you guys
like to point out that Greg's shirt is very candy cane inspired today.
I'm a candy striper, damn it, Matt.
I
work at the hospital.
Quite lovely. I'm having like the old Twilight Zone effect where the screen is spinning. It's like actually hypnotizing me as I speak.
Is this working better for you? Twilight Zone, listen to me. Okay. If you guys want to do any kind of advertising, Matt and I have been working on this a little bit, but use it for your real estate side. It's called TrueView.com. Jason, who's on the blab with me, he did, what was it, 10 or $15? It wasn't much at all, right? And he got like 1,500 or 2,000 views of his ad. And a view only counts if they either click on the ad or if they watch 30 seconds or more of your ad. So if they watch 28 seconds of your ad, it does not count as a view. It's free advertising for you. And we were talking to a guy named Dan who works at a new company called tryadhoc.com. Super cool dude. Give Dan a call if you want to do some advertising, help you set it up. Very smart guy. But he said if you're going to do TrueView and do YouTube ads like this, have your brand. If you guys can see my card, have your brand hold it there for the first like 5 seconds, and then have you come on. So it's just free repetitive branding in your marketplace, and you can get very detail oriented, geographic, demographic, even income in the areas that you want to hit. So I know that I'm going to do something like that here for our team. And naturally, me being me, he said he got 1,500 views for $10, and I'm like, so what can I get for 500?
Of course.
Of course. Why go small, man? That's not an okay way to go. What else? Oh yeah, Gmail is coming out with ads. Very, very cheap, very effective. So keep your eyes open for Gmail ads. And then, yeah, I think that's about it that would be applicable to our listeners. But yeah, some good stuff there, guys. Some good little hacks. We're going to be on today at 3:15 to do another blab. If you guys are watching this on the replay, this means nothing to you. I'm sorry.
That's right. This only applies to the people watching live. Sorry about that. But if you want to be turned on to when Greg does blab live, you can just follow him at McDaniel Systems on Twitter.
Yeah, at McDaniel Systems, and then follow me on blab, and you guys will figure everything out. But
granted, Twitter may soon, I don't know, it may be leading to its own demise. I read an interesting article about that the other day, so we'll see.
What do you mean?
The fact that Twitter had apparently a mass exodus of executive staff here over the last few months.
Yeah, it happened last week.
Yeah, was it last week? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just that, basically. And the fact that they just seem to be going nowhere and have no strategy.
Yeah, they're floundering. But that's what you get for 140 characters, bitches.
Okay.
No, they up to 10,000 now, so that you can.
Oh, is that official?
Yeah, you can do 10,000 now, so you can do a lot more. You can get your tweet on.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Maybe it'll make it legible now.
Are you done with
normal
your
human beings?
Huh?
I said maybe it'll make it legible to normal human beings.
Yeah, not hashtag code slice code. You're like, what does that mean? Is that English?
Exactly.
Are we being connected to those aliens? Are they the Greys? All right, get your shout outs. I got some cool ones, man.
All right, so quickly, Vyral Marketing, thanks for cutting a check to make Hangouts and podcasts like these happen. So you can check them out at getvyral.com. They do a really, really good job of doing Greg's video blog like he talked about. He was just recording for them today. So it's the East Bay Real Estate Video Blog. So you can check that out, see what they do for him and what they can do for you. And then Equity with 2 Qs. It's an online buyer lead generation for solo agents. It's great for everyone from solo agents as well as to small teams, even brokerages. So it's in beta test. So if you're curious about it, basically it's hooking you up with a lender that will subsidize the cost, so it's very affordable, and it generates a smaller number of higher quality buyer leads that make it more likely that you'll actually turn into actual deals from actual clients. Always a good thing. So you can get in touch with Greg to learn where that's available. Obviously, if you're in the Bay Area, it's already there, so you just need to get linked in. So
okay, so I had a unique experience last night. I was on my call. And when I got on the call, I was speaking with a very, very kind woman named Nikki, and she's been following us for quite a while and listening to our show, which we very much appreciate. And she goes, by any chance, is your father Terry McDaniel? I'm like, yeah. How do you know my dad? And I hear her, she's like, well, I have my husband sitting next to me. And I'm like, oh boy, what's going to happen now? Because I didn't know her last name yet. And I'm like, hey, well, how do you know my dad? And he's like, oh, your dad's a troublemaker. A little nervous still. I'm like, so how do you know my dad? And his name is Brad Chandler. And he was one of our largest and best users of our Real Agile, now Smart Prospecting product, the predictive analytics software that we own and have a patent on. And
there's a story there. We won't get into that.
Yeah. And so Brad and I got to talk for a while. I hadn't talked to him in years. And ironically, he had just reached out. Terry just reached out to Brad to reconnect. So it was very, very funny. We had a great time. Worked with Nikki on how not to be such a bull in a china shop when she goes in, how to stay in a state of curiosity and ask questions and bring the people, the clients into the fold, make ideas their own through different verbiages that I was working with her on. So great call, Nikki. I see she's a crusher, dude. She just kills it out there. So she just wanted help on keeping some listings. And then Neely, our president of our private Facebook /fan club, thank you for setting that up. We're going to work on getting more of that out there. She texted me via Facebook early this morning that from what you and I have talked about on the podcast and from the McDaniel challenge, when we worked out some just nitty gritty with her, like I'd like to do with all my folks, she walked into a listing appointment. She brought some testimonials. She brought some, past work. She brought some examples of kind of who she is and what she can do for them. And she was very confident. She owned the space. She had her mindset correct. And, she just knocked it out of the park. They said, well, we're going to interview a couple other agents. So we'll get back to you. She's like, okay, no problem. Walked out the front door. 5 minutes later, they called and said, we're going to be listing the home with you.
That's awesome.
And so I'm like, hey, that's great. Kick-ass take names. She's like, it's all because of you guys. So thank you. I'm like, hey, no, you're the one that did it. You're the one that went in there and closed it. We just helped a little bit. That's all. So it's all, Neely, that's all you, girl.
Awesome. Congratulations, Neely.
Yeah. And then KV out of Los Angeles. I shot you back a message on LinkedIn. Matt and I do not have any events scheduled in LA for the, probably not until the end of the year, I think, for LA. But hit me up. Let's have you take the McDaniel challenge and we'll work out the issues with you starting in your area and how to break into the luxury market. Whew. All right. That is my shout outs.
That's right. All right. Well, I've done my shout outs. So what do you say we get into the bulk of what we want to talk about today, which is the background, both of our individual backgrounds and then how the show got started, what the purpose is, and why we're doing this whole thing, and where the show is going, and all kinds of stuff like that.
Sure. Why don't you start out with you, man?
All right.
Since you start off the show, why don't you start off the background?
Cool. All right. So my first exposure to real estate was I think I got my license in 2006. I read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller that same year and immediately decided to start a brokerage and take over the world. Mm-hmm. That was not a good idea.
2006, you said?
Yeah, 2006. Yeah.
Oh, good.
My sense of timing is impeccable as always.
Yes, it is. Look at all these people making all this money. This is going to be freaking cake, man. Let's do it.
What's funny is my intention was to get in for the investing side. It wasn't actually to sell real estate. And but then I got in. Once I read the book, I was like, oh, well, there's actually more money to be made on the sales than there is on the investing side, depending, when we're talking about single family homes, which to an extent is true. But anyway. So me and my buddy both went into real estate at the same time. Joined a local brokerage, and the guy that owned the brokerage attempted to mentor my buddy in the ways of selling real estate, probably Mike Ferry style, just very super 80s oriented, just hop on the phone and start dialing for dollars. Yeah. We wanted to go like the team building route and go after FSBOs and expireds and run the guaranteed sale program and stuff like that. So I joined like a coaching program. We're running like, postcards that were working in other markets and just trying a bunch of stuff. So we took a bunch of expired listings. My buddy was working with buyers and stuff like that. And then the market like just softened up. So I learned through the,
softened up.
Well, you got to remember, this is Omaha. The market didn't crash. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It just like the swings, we didn't swing as high and we didn't swing as low. So it softened up to the point where, our average days on market went from, 60 days on market to like 120 days or whatever. So, the time on market doubled, but it wasn't like it crashed like Vegas or San Diego or LA or anything like that. It didn't drop 20%,
We dropped 40
So,
plus up here. I don't know about
was it 40?
20%. Yeah, we had a couple markets that dropped 60%.
Ugh. Yeah, there was
It was
nothing
a
like that at Omaha.
bloodbath.
No. So anyway, so at that point, I was kind of disgusted with real estate.
I can't imagine
so I got
why.
out. I left.
Goodbye, crew world.
Pretty much. Yep. Let's see. At that point, I decided, screw it. I'm going to go be a professional musician. And at one point, I was in 4 bands, none of whom made it. Let's see. Then I did a variety of like sales and like management jobs, and then started learning about marketing for just the music side, basically. So I taught myself how to build websites, how to market on, how to use social media. Basically read everything I could get my hands on marketing, stuff like that, and really learned the foundational basics of it with no intention of using it in business. It was all towards music. So me and the girl I was dating at the time, we got signed to management. We got pitched to like the head of Sony Red and the head of some label in Germany, and there was talk of us going on tour. There was talk of us going and playing in like 5-star hotels in Dubai. I got my passport, the whole 9 yards. None of it worked out. Like it all fell through. We just didn't get signed to a label. So
that sucks.
It did suck. So
moved for rehashing that painful memory.
Yeah, exactly. So we moved to Denver with the intention of putting a band and going the independent route. Produced an album, released an album. I played drums and piano on it, and the guitar player was he's the guitar player from Mannheim Steamroller, which is kind of cool. So I got to produce those guys in the studio, and so that it sold okay, but didn't set the world on fire. So anyway, fast forward, I was doing like a sales job where I was traveling around a lot throughout the Midwest and like Colorado and Texas and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to settle down. I was trying to get my dad to like start a church, and he decided not to in the end. But my intention was I was going to settle down. I was going to stay in Nebraska, be close to my family, and we're going to do something like that in ministry together. So I'm poking around on Craigslist, just looking around, seeing what's out there. I was deciding what to do as far as whether I wanted to keep going into sales, if I wanted to do something different in management, or whatever the deal was. And I seen Frank from Vyral Marketing, his ad for like an account executive or a sales coach for Vyral Marketing. And it was, it was, as you can imagine, the most uniquely well-written and persuasive ad that you can possibly imagine.
I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be an account executive? No.
Yeah. So so I responded to him. I got a reply back. I think that night I was on the phone with him for well over an hour, and I was in an interview with the operations manager the next day, and was starting in the office like, I was set to start in the office as soon as I came off the road.
Wow.
So it happened very, very quickly. So from there, I started working with it was some of the original clients that Vyral Marketing had. So, I mean, these are some of like the top agents. They were people that couldn't be handed off to any of their other account executives, basically, and so they got handed off to me. Essentially, these are guys that some of them had worked with Frank personally while in the early days. Some of them then worked with Scott, who's now the VP of marketing there. And so I was working with some pretty cool people, getting to coach them on their videos. Getting an inside peek at all their marketing. I learned a lot about the inner workings of the real estate teams, which I hadn't done before because I'd just learned about it from the outside looking in. And then from there, I moved out to San Diego. Frank brought me out to do business development. I started working in what was called the partner program, which is where we're doing hangouts with all these guys like you, Greg, and then like Matthew Ferry and Bill Crespo, like ex-MAPS coaches like Bill Crespo, Excellium coaching, and just, I mean, we had like 30 or 35 people I was running hangouts with over the course of that time. So that program didn't go as well as we thought it would in terms of like it bringing referrals into like new clients into Vyral Marketing as a direct result of those hangouts, but the experience was amazing. I mean, I got to work with some really, really incredible people on their marketing. So that's what led to me going independent. That's how I met Jeff Cohn. That's how I got into private consulting. And then and along with that, we're like working on the partner program stuff. There was also a short-lived company that Frank started called Real Estate Snail Mail. Greg, do you remember that?
For a brief second.
Yes. So that was really, really interesting. That was a cool experience because we basically got to write the expired letters for some of the top agents in the country, all over the country. So Frank wrote the initial letter, right? And then I would do the interviews with the agents and do the final copywriting. So I basically got to interview, I don't know, 15 or 20 of the top agents across the country and basically drill them about how they sold homes.
It's like high intensity coaching right then and there. Like, so tell me about this, work me this, what step from here? And you're like, no. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I basically had to drill them on that and figure out what their real competitive advantage was, and then it was my job to put that into the copy for the sales letters. So the unfortunate thing that we found about, and the result of that, was that the best sales message for an expired listing is just a simple, I have a buyer, call me at blah blah blah. Like, nothing worked better than that. Like, you can have the best, you can have the coolest competitive advantage. Like, you can offer to call like 500 people around their home and all this stuff. You can put all this stuff in print, and the letter looked great, and it was super persuasive. Nothing got as much calls as just flat out saying I have a buyer, which in most cases you don't. So it's unethical to send that, which is why we didn't keep doing that.
Yeah, you better have, or if you don't have an exact buyer, maybe have an investment buyer, that might not, have something if you're going to write that letter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. An investment buyer would be great. If you can offer to put a deal together, I mean, that's basically how the guy that you might be working with does that, that marketing and lead gen. So anyway, that company ended up, like, Frank shut the whole thing down because it was unethical. The thing that got the best results turned out to be unethical. So he's like, nope, not going to do that. Shut the whole thing down. Refunded everybody's money, but it was still a great experience. It was basically a giant marketing test. So, and I got to be a part of that, which is really cool. So once I got introduced to Jeff Cohn, I started doing some SEO work, and like I worked on this whole big project for him, doing like building community videos, like video tours of all the top neighborhoods in his market, which is Omaha, which is where we're both from, right? So that led to me doing private consulting when he decided to expand his real estate team around the country. And then we started doing hangouts together, and started doing hangouts with other people that I used to work with on the partner program with Vyral. And so basically went into essentially private consulting and kept on doing the, like what you and I were doing. We started doing hangouts. That turned into Real Estate Uncensored. So that brings us up until today. So that's what I do. So for anybody who's not, like, if you're not 100% clear on what I do or where I make my money, which I do get that question a lot from people when they meet me in person, is I make my money primarily from private consulting with real estate coaches and consultants that sell things to other real estate agents. So they want to build an audience, they want to help more people, they want to coach people to be better. I help them reach those people. That's where I make the bulk of my money. And then obviously I do the podcast mostly for fun with you, Greg. We don't sell a lot. we don't really like coaching necessarily, especially not in the sense of like charging people $1,000 a month for 2 motivational phone calls. Like, we're not about that. We're not about to ever start that at any time. That's not us. We have zero interest in doing that. The training. Yes.
Training,
so training.
Is a different story.
Training is a different story. We thoroughly enjoy that, and I'm looking forward to doing like live speaking engagements and stuff like that. But yeah, we're not like that. That's not where the podcast is going. So for the most part, you and I do this for the sheer enjoyment of it, and because we know eventually down the road it's going to lead to good things, whether it's agents joining our teams and being able to do, just having sponsors that we genuinely believe in. Vyral Marketing is one of them. I mean, that's why it's one of the only sponsors we have on the show, because I know for sure they're going to take care of people when they sign up.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, is the fact that I have a lot of folks asking us, do you guys do private coaching? Do you got private coaching? No, guys, we're not that type of person. Trust me, you're not going to want us to coach you. Now, we can train you. We can give you the information, or just keep watching all of our stuff for free, getting all of the best quality training free, upfront, no cost, put it into action. All you have to do, it's called a notepad, people. Write on it. And then just go out and execute. That's it. Take the McDaniel challenge, guys. Call me 925-915-1978, 925-915-1978. Book a time with me, and we can go over how to build that specific prospecting, marketing, plan for you, your personality, your market, the whole 9 yards. Okay. So
yeah. I'm pretty sure I woke up this morning and 925-915. I'm pretty sure that phone number haunts my dreams.
You're mumbling in your sleep, and your dog come over, licks you in the face like, it's okay. It's a dream. It's not. You don't have to take the McDaniel challenge. It's okay.
That's right. So it's like I read a story about the 49ers coach, Bill Walsh, so one of the greatest coaches in history, and his wife used to tell people that he would be sitting there like at a social event with his arm around her, and she could feel him diagramming football plays on with his finger on her shoulder. So that's probably me, except I'm dialing your phone number. I'm too
Oh,
far.
wake up. It's okay. You don't have to. It's like a horror movie.
Yeah, that's right.
In all actuality, guys, it's a lot of fun. Take the challenge, fill it up. I'm almost done with this entire month, so please get some time, guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say, unless like we're gonna have to switch at some point to like offering some sort of group Q&A call or coaching, not a coaching call, but just something. Yeah. So if you guys don't act quick, it'll be March before you get to talk to Greg, which is not good. I wouldn't wait that long.
Well, you don't have to. You get blessed with my voice 3 days a week, my friend.
That's right, I do. And I'll get blessed with the 20 minutes of bullshitting before we go live, which is even better.
That's standard operating procedure.
It's a good thing that's not recorded because good Lord, we would offend so many people.
No, we would. Our fan base would leave us immediately. And no, guys, we're not telling you what we're going to talk about. It's all kinds of naughty stuff.
Okay.
All
right. Let's talk about your story. You and I have talked about it. I don't know that we've ever shared it on the show. There may have been some allusions to it, like in the first episode with Jane Wendon, which is still one of our most viewed videos on our YouTube channel. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention this. We have some really, really interesting stats. So on our YouTube channel, I just want to share this with everybody.
1,098, dude.
Yeah, so we are 2 away. We're about to cross 1,100. We'll cross that tonight, God willing, if people subscribe. But more importantly, Greg, so I was looking at the analytics for the YouTube channel, right? So a lot of people watch the show as opposed to listen to it on iTunes, although we get thousands of downloads on that, obviously. But the watch time, so we are about to, here probably within the next, I don't know, a couple weeks maybe, we're about to cross the 100,000 minute threshold. In other words, we have been, the watch time, the total watch time for the videos on our channel are about to have reached 100,000 total minutes in terms of views.
I would like to thank Neely for all of her dedicated time.
That's fine. Oh, that
without you, we could never have reached the 100,000. So
that's right. It just sits there. It just on her computer, just continually runs on a loop. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. No, we love you.
All right, Greg. So what? Tell me. Take me back. Take me all the way back. So I want to hear about that. You've alluded to the fat and hairy days, and then I found out this weekend apparently you were a ski lift operator in Tahoe at one point. So please take me through your background.
Oh, wow, this is gonna get ugly. Okay, so ever since high school, when I was growing up, they didn't know what to do with me. I couldn't learn. I couldn't learn. I couldn't read. I couldn't, anything. And so they found out I had a learning disability after they poked and prodded me and thought I had brain tumor and all kinds of other illnesses. And they finally said, well, the doctor said, well, no, nothing wrong with your son. He's just dyslexic and he's ADHD. And so that explained why I was such a hyperactive little child running around constantly and never stopping. Neely just Facebooked me and said she hates me with smiley faces. Thank you, Neely.
That's right.
So I was running around as a spastic little child, and they tried all different types of medication on me. Some would keep me up all the time. Some that would drop me like a rock as soon as I took them. Also, I finally found the right medication. I had to go learn how to read at a special school, which was always detrimental to a young child's, morale. We need to be sent over to the retard table, to go hang out. And then once you get out of that retard class, and I say retard with the tongue in cheek because I was in it, then I had to go to the resource center in elementary school, which then, you thought all the cool kids were watching you and you were the dork, and that hurt, even more. Finally, I get into high school. I held a nice solid C- all the way through college, high school. Solid C-. Oh yeah, okay. Solid C-. And after high school, I took a year off. Kind of my parents were like, you should probably take a year off, buddy. Like maybe reevaluate what you want to do. I worked on Catalina Island for a little while until I got kicked off the camp, which is a Christian camp for drinking and smoking. Go figure. Then moved up to Tahoe, was a lift operator in 97 to 98. Came back out of there. Then somehow I was down in LA partying with my buddy Casey, and he's like, yeah, I go to the school called Marymount. You should apply. Well, I applied. I don't know who bribed who, but I got in. And there I started on my strong decline in habits of life. I drank every single day, smoked like 2 or 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I got like a D minus, F average on my classes, because I would drink a handle of half a handle or more of hard booze, plus a 12-pack of beer every night while eating fast food. So there would be a reason why I couldn't get up and go to class. And if I did get up and go to class, I would be reeking of booze and beer and smokes, pass out in class. And so after 2 years of this stellar, scholastic activities that I was partaking in.
It sounds like you went on tour with Guns N' Roses or something.
I did, apparently. But I did get a doctorate, PhD, and MBA in girls, drinking, and drugs. Oh yeah, by the way, while that drinking, I was pounding all kinds of other illicit drugs into my system, trying everything out there. And so my parents grabbed me by the back of the neck and are like, all right, dipshit, we're not spending any more money on you. You're coming out, you're going out of LA. So I came back up from LA, back up to the Bay Area, where I came up here. I was about 65 pounds heavier than I am now and hairy. So it was my fat and hairy stage. I started working in a warehouse, super stoked. All my friends worked there, but I was like the grunt's grunt. I mean, I was like sub grunt. And I decided to start changing my life at that point, because I like, this just sucks. So I started running a mile every day at lunch, drinking water, eating apples and very healthy food. I dropped about a pound every 2 days. And cut the drinking out too. And so my father said to me at that point, Greg, why don't you come work with me in real estate? And I said, nah, I don't want to do that. That's what you do. It's not real work. So then he's like, no, Greg, why don't you come work with me? I said, no. So it's not real work. It's dad work. And so I consulted my friends, and they said, Greg, real estate's built for you. Just go try it. And I said, okay, I'll go try it. I'll go make the old guy happy. Then I'll move back down to LA and be a movie star and live in $1 million mansion and be a billionaire. That didn't happen. 16 years plus, here I am. So I got into real estate, and I was a complete douchebag. I would come in, again, my MO from college, stinking of booze, still smoking. I worked as a bouncer in the evenings on the weekends, so I wouldn't get any sleep on the weekends. And on Saturday nights, I would get off the shift at 2 a.m. after, normally we had massive bar fights every night, which I loved. Those are so much fun. Most of the bouncers were there for the girls. I was just there for the fights, man. I was like, come on, let's do this. But if
anybody doesn't know, Greg's a big dude. I can see you possibly being a bouncer.
I had so much fun beating the shit out of freaking idiots. But they deserved it.
Oh, of course.
Naturally, I wouldn't hit an innocent person. No. And so I would get off at 2. Then we'd go, all the bouncers, all the waitresses would all come back to my house, and we'd start our party at 2 and end about 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And so then what I would do is I would go sleeping from like 6 until 10:30, 11, and then get up reeking of booze, stumble into shower, get cleaned up, go to the open houses, fall asleep in the open houses. Naturally. I'd wear a belt buckle with a bottle opener. I would fight with my team. I would, argue with my father, who'd been doing it for like 40 years at that, like 30 years at that point. It was just a very uncool part of my life. And then 2007, 2008 took place. And then keep in mind, guys, I was making more money than I should ever have been making at a 23, 24-year-old, should be making. I had 2 homes, one well over $1 million. The other one was my condo that I originally had, and I had my 2 cars. I lost everything. I went through a bankruptcy and a foreclosure. I had literally at one point $35 to my name. That was the only thing I had. And I freaked out because I had no skill set. I mean, I had absolutely no skill set except for door knocking, because when I first got into the business, my father would not let me around real estate, around clients. Can you imagine why? That's so weird. And so he put me on the doors, door knocking. I door knocked 5 days a week, 5 days a week, about 5 to 6 hours a day. I got really good at prospecting. And so when I left the team unceremoniously after the crash, after the bankruptcy and everything else, I started working with another company selling to real estate agents. And I realized when I left and I started working with this other company, I started dating this horrible girl. And I meant to say horrible girl, because when I was broke, I said, oh, honey, we're going to have to, tighten up the old bootstraps here where I don't have a lot of money. She gave me this look like I just told her like the worst news on earth. She 3 times told me I did not make enough money for her and the men paid to hang out with her. What a bitch. So we parted
now, I'm
ways.
not sure, Greg, is that, I know you're holding something back here.
What are my emotions on that one?
Yeah, exactly.
So after that, what I did is I threw that POS back into the ocean, and I went back to my father and Chris, our business partner, and they had no reason to let me back onto the real estate team. Okay. Cause trust me, I was horrible. And I went back with hat in hand, and I sat at my parents' I sat on my parents' breakfast nook, and I had nothing to offer. And I said, guys, would you please let me back on this team? And they did. And I had nowhere else to go. And I promised them from that moment that I'm going to do everything humanly possible to give back to anyone and everyone that can ever want knowledge about real estate, and that I was going to work the hardest I would ever work, and I'd prove that I would be a good person for the team. And that's what I've been doing. That's what I did. And I cinched up my boots from that moment forward. I got back out there. I started door knocking, and I've done everything I can to grow this team. I've tried to research every single thing to help promote it. And that's how Jay Rockcliffe, my brokerage, that's how they found me. And then they watched me, and they brought me in as the trainer for the entire brokerage to show their agents kind of what I've done. So I built a training program for Jay Rockcliffe. And at that point, that's when I met Matt, and through Vyral, that's what I was doing my research on it. And Matt was my coach, and they said they're going to pair me up with this guy named Matt Johnson. I'm like, who's Matt Johnson? And well, as soon as he and I met each other, we became thick as thieves and had a blast doing our videos together. He then transferred out, like he said, he became an independent consultant, which I was a little pissed, I gotta say. I'm like, you're taking my buddy away? What the Frank? And he and I communicated offline with another gal that's now working with us offline. And I approached him a little over a year ago now, right? It was like December of, it was 06, 05. It was like December of 14, wasn't there, somewhere in there? And you and I was like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? And Matt's like, hell yeah, I do. And
yeah, this would have been, so this is March of 2015. So we had done like a couple of hangouts, just like one a month for the first 2 months of last year. And yeah, we were a little known to us. We were each thinking the same thing, like, dude, we should totally do a podcast together.
Yeah, come on, this would be so much fun. We mess around all the time together.
That's true.
And then we're just like, yeah, let's do a podcast. And then, he and I are 50-50 owners on this. So because Matt compliments me, I compliment Matt. And that's why we gel so well together. As you guys know, he lets me off my leash every once in a while, and then guides us back into where we should be on the podcast. And I have to come off of my soapbox. Right. So that's where we are, guys. That's how we got to where we are. We each took incredibly different paths in life, but fate, reality, the universe, whatever it is, brought us back together. And now we are here loving what we're doing with you guys, loving hanging out. And we each have our own deep passion, as you know, to do these shows. And so we truly appreciate everything that you guys do, what you compliment to us. Trey, who gave me the king cake that's sitting beside me, Neely, are you a singer now? Are you a rapper? Neely, starting the Facebook group, being a positive force in both of our lives, being so generous with your time and your money. Thank you beyond words. To the hundreds of folks in the future that we're going to get to meet after you see this video, and to the hundreds that have been in the past that have watched our videos, and the dozens and dozens that have taken the McDaniel challenge. You guys mean the world to us. We cannot wait to meet you and hug you when we finally get to your offices or see you at an event or something like that. So do not be shy. If you see one of our mugs, you come over and say hi. We cannot wait to say hello.
Yes, and I would just like to clarify that I do not, like most people, But if you watch the show and you enjoy the show, please come up and meet me. And I have no problem with that. I just want to clarify that.
Oh, that's funny. I do not like most people.
It's I think it was Neely that messaged me on Facebook. She's like, "Now I know you don't like people, but if I could just have a moment of your time." It was so funny.
That's because I told her that.
All right, but let's it's funny, Greg, because yes, we have taken different paths, but in some ways we've been very very similar. So we both lost everything in 2007. We both I almost declared bankruptcy. I did lose my house. I lost my Lincoln Navigator that I drove when I was in real estate. Yeah. So we both had that.
How'd you get around if you didn't have a Navigator?
I don't know. It's very difficult. This is before smartphones.
I know. You could have gotten lost on that.
It was Omaha. Let's face it. There's not much else to go.
It's flat. There's one road. Just go.
Yeah, exactly. There's I-80. It runs through town. You go from left end to the right end, and you're there. Anyway, but we both had some interesting checkered paths and jobs, and worked for other people, and now we work for ourselves, and that is definitely the best. I think one of the things that we're both very very passionate about is helping people work for themselves in such a way that it's profitable and enjoyable. Like both freedom is very very important to both of us. I mean, you have the luxury of being on a team where you do have a lot of freedom to be you. You don't really answer. You know what I'm saying? You don't answer much to your broker. You don't answer to your father in terms of like your day-to-day activities. You really have a lot of autonomy within your team. Yeah, even though
they answer.
So, and
I don't want to say they answer to me because that's very egotistical, but I mean, they know I do videos on Fridays, so they're kind enough, and they allow me to have this big ass office to myself. I mean, it's a true blessing to be a part of this team.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm very fortunate to be, I guess, what you consider an independent consultant. So I don't report to anybody either, other than just my clients, obviously. And then for those of you that are interested in podcasting, if you know somebody that is an expert, like a speaker, author, consultant, I'm starting a company to help service them and help them run podcasts. So that's kind of my thing for this year. So that's completely outside of what we do here. It's not necessarily for real estate, just for anybody who's an expert. But that's what I'm passionate about, is helping people take people that have something to say, they have something to do, they have a service to offer, they could work independently, but they don't necessarily know how to attract the clients. They're weak on the marketing, the lead generation. That's the part that I really enjoy, and that's the part that, Greg, you're really good at teaching as well, and you're very passionate about it. So whether it's real estate or not, we really, really, really enjoy helping people get to the point where they can live a life of freedom through, in this case, their real estate career, but also, depending on what else they do, we would just love to help people get to the point where they can work for themselves, be independent, have a stream of incoming clients so that they're not under any one person's thumb, so that they don't have to take deals they don't want to do and work with clients they hate and just hate life. Life is awesome. I mean, I've finally gotten to the point in my life, and Greg, you beat me here, but
I am a little bit older than you, pal.
You're a few years older, yeah.
Just a few decades older.
A few decades. No, if anything, it's the opposite. I'm pretty sure I've been 70 years old since I was 7. Is the joke, but yeah, we both come to a place where we very much enjoy our lives and we have a good time, and we want to help other people do the same. It's funny, Greg, you and I were joking about this Jay Samit challenge, the writing down 3 problems. All right, so by the way, for anybody that doesn't know, if you're listening to this on the recording, so this is a Friday, right? Jay is going to be back on the show on Monday, and we are supposed to present him and pitch him on one big idea, like Shark Tank style, right? Based on us writing down 3 problems a day that we see and coming up with some sort of big idea for how to solve them. Both me and Greg are like, we hit day 15, we're like, we have no problems.
I have no problems. I'm happy. I'm literally happy every day. I'm like, okay, what am I pissed about today? Stub my toe. I should probably write that down. Stub toe. What's next?
Had to go to grocery store for things you can't buy on Amazon.
Oh, the horrors in life.
I had to go out amongst the common people.
God, for the peasants.
Yeah, fortunately, that's what podcasts and headphones are for.
And dark sunglasses and a hat down around your face. Nobody sees me.
Right. Well, the paparazzi. Ooh, goodness.
Dude, they're rough, man. They push.
That's right.
Oh God. Hey guys, for all of you that are watching this, hey, Matt and I are really want to do some speaking this year at NAR or CAR. I reached out to Jeff Lobb, Matt. So if any of you guys have any connections at NAR or CAR, Matt and you and I are going to talk offline about this. Let us know. Put a good word in for us. Matt and I would love to get out there. We want to talk about prospecting, help more than just the folks here kind of learn about this stuff. So if you guys have anything, let us know. That'd be greatly appreciated. Or Inman, that's my dream to speak at Inman. I just don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about yet. But probably the same thing. So that's what we have. Do you want to do another question? Do we have enough time for another question?
I think we got time. So, so one of the things I wanted to get to is this question from Mike Rohrig on how many contacts do you expect to get per 100 calls when you're calling around, like especially circle prospecting?
Mike, you're gonna, I mean, you're gonna talk to, well, it depends. Okay, a few things: demographics, time of year. You know, is it a single family, dual income family? You know, what are you looking at? So that's gonna change from market to market that you're gonna be calling into. You're gonna probably on calls be connecting, like live connection, like talking to another human being. Probably anywhere from 7 to 15% is gonna be your connection rate overall. Doing doors, most likely, if you're to go out there and door knocking, your percentages are going to climb significantly. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just people see, a random number, or you're calling in on a home line or something like that, and those home lines never get checked. But they can be effective. Don't get me wrong. But if you want to be truly effective, go out and hand out 10 to 25 business cards on a daily basis. Do 5 follow-up calls on a daily basis, or 5 pop-bys. Your business will explode at that point, just utilizing your sphere of influence.
All right, interesting. So I was just pulling up the stats from Jeff Cohn's team. So they tracked all of their calls for last year, which were close to 100,000 calls. And out of those, they made over 20,000 contacts. So it's roughly 22%. So that's in a pretty predictable Midwestern market. Obviously, if you're in a resort market, it'll be lower because you're dealing with a lot of out-of-town owners. But if you're in a fairly average market where it's primarily owner residents, single-family homes, I would say that's pretty predictable. Just counting 1 in 5.
Yeah. Again, guys, it's going to change. Every market is going to change. So don't rely on this. Use Mojo. They'll track everything on the back end. Go to the standard report in the back. They'll tell you the percentage, the numbers of you contacted, the total numbers of homes numbers you dialed, and then the amount of time you spent on the phone. It's very easy to understand, and then you see what makes the most sense for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and if you a great thing to track also is how many appointments you set. Even if you just set them or track them, go back in your Google Calendar and add them up at the end of the month and see, oh, I had 5 appointments this month. That way okay, well, I made 500 calls, I talked to 50 people, I set 5 appointments. That way you kind of have an idea of what your ratios are, and that way you can also coach yourself in terms of knowing where your breakdowns are, right? So the reason that Jeff Cohn and his team tracks all those numbers is so that they can isolate when they coach their agents where exactly they need to improve. So where's the breakdown, right? So they can know, because everything is tracked at the individual level, if an agent is struggling with turning calls into appointments, or are they struggling to turn appointments into clients. And that's how you know exactly where you need to put, like, do you need to work on scripting on the phone, or do you need to work on your in-person presence and your value proposition, the value rocket ship that Greg talks about, in order to get them excited and enthusiastic about working with you. So the more you track, like, you want to track things that give you actionable information. The number of appointments versus the number of calls and contacts you've made is one of those things that will give you actionable information, because it tells you exactly where to zero in on and where you need more coaching, or where you need to go coach yourself and take on some more training and learning to get better.
Yeah, and never stop learning, guys. I mean, our podcast is a good resource for a lot of education and entertainment and some fun and, tongue-in-cheek, but good content as well. Go hunt out some other stuff, guys. We're not the end of the world. I mean, as much as we would like to say that we are the end-all be-all, we're not. There's some phenomenal things. Toby Salgado, Super Agents Live, Pat Hyben, Jesse Garcia, Whiteboard,
Smith, get shit done, GSD mode.
Yeah, just to name a few guys. Go listen to these guys. Go listen to Self-Made Man if you're a man listening to this. Women, I don't think it's going to work out so well. Art of Charm is another great podcast. Amy Porterfield, great. She's a great, just straight up businesswoman. Founder, Foundr, no E, is an Australian guy that talks about how to do business, stuff. It's just, there's a lot out there. Go be a go be as curious as you possibly can. You'll become so smart in such a small amount of time. It'll blow your mind.
Yep. All right, and just wanted to thank, I noticed when I was here looking up the stats from Jeff's group on Facebook here, Adam Pringle liked our page like literally just a few seconds ago. So if you're watching, Adam, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Adam.
All right. So with that, I already mentioned Vyral Marketing. I won't talk about them. Just check them out. You can check them out at getvyral.com or check out Greg's real estate video blog. It's the East Bay real estate video blog. And then Equity with 2 Qs, online buyer lead generation for basically built from the ground up for solo agents. So if you want to do partner up with a mortgage lender, they will help make that happen, and they will give you a more predictable, like a higher quality, smaller number of leads that you can work to actually get clients and real deals. So hit Greg up and see if that's available in your market. And then Greg, how do people reach you? As if we don't already know.
Smoke signals on a windy day. We've already gone over this, Matt.
That's right.
It's like it's Ebonics for smoke signals.
It's that Australian thing that you spin around like in Crocodile Dundee. Yeah, it's that thing.
All right, call me, guys. Text me. It's a real number. I swear to God. 925-915-1978. 925-915-1978, just like the year. Get me, book me, guys. Hurry up. I'm not kidding around. The month is literally almost filled up. I want to make sure I get to you guys before the summertime, and I want to help you guys grow your business. We're in the beginning part of the year. This is a critical time to grow your business, guys. So please reach out. I cannot wait to meet you. So with that, I love you guys. I cannot wait to see you on Monday.
That's right. We'll see you guys back here. Until then, have a great weekend.
Bye-bye, guys.